I'm Georgia and welcome to William Buck, a firm that is reimagining the way advisors work. Come with me and take a peek behind closed doors. Exceptional advice comes from passionate people who feel empowered to shape outcomes. Our teams include audit and assurance, business advisory, corporate finance, restructuring and insolvency, superannuation, tax and wealth advisory. These teams work together to create a tangible impact for our clients. Events such as staff breakfasts, colleague lunches, trivia nights and regular parties allow our people to build relationships inside and out of the office. And between our social club and run club, there's something for everyone. William Buck is the perfect place to start, grow or take your career to the next level. We have robust training to aid growth opportunities and boost career development. Changing lives is our underlying philosophy, and the William Buck Foundation formalises our community and volunteer initiatives, allowing us to better work with charities and organisations most in need. Your physical and mental well-being is super important to us. Our flexible workplace allows you to better balance your professional and personal life. And we're lucky enough to have an in-house psychologist to help you be your best. If you want to join a company where friendships are made and careers are built, then come on over to a firm that's delivering more than just advice.
I'm here at Urban Surf supporting the Bright Sky and Forward Ability adaptive surfing event, and super excited to see first timers to people like Sam Bloom who have competed on the world stage.
Got over 30 surfers here registered to jump in the water with us today, and there's a real buzz, lots of excitement. Bright Sky and Forward, we've been around for 64 years supporting people with spinal cord injury, and through Bright Sky we're able to fund an event like this.
I'm excited, it's electric out here, so much energy.
There is a huge crew, the weather has turned it on, it's going to be a sick day, I'm super keen, get some waves with some mates.
We're lucky to have Sam Bloom here. She's a great ambassador for forward ability support, but also a great advocate for surfing.
Sick event. It's cool to have so many surfers out here, and wild setup with Urban Surf and Bright Sky and Cyberwood, and yeah, it's going to be bad.
You couldn't get a better setup for getting into surfing for adaptive athletes.
It's incredible that Bright Sky and Forward Ability have put this event on and have made it happen, and yeah, obviously with the support of Cyberwood. So no, it's awesome. I hope we'll do many more events like this.
First real tournament on home soil in 20 years. To get those guys to get that experience, that's what every game at a World Cup's like. That's what every game at a Paralympics is like. We're trying to build it that they bring the intensity every time, because if they don't, they're not going to get selected. It's like your decision. You turn up and you put in it and train on and play at rollers standards at what we, so it's gold medal standard. We want to finish in the top 4 at the Worlds. I think that's the next step. We've had wins against the top teams now. We just now consistently need to go to a tournament and do that. I think the future's really bright here in Australia with what WBA have done, and the collaboration now with BA, etc. I think everyone understands that there is a really great opportunity to not only nail Brisbane 32, but then nail it for many years after that.
What's up everyone, Chandler Brown here. I'm currently over in Turkey for the 25-26 Turkish League. I'm excited to get back and kick off this new era of wheelchair basketball with you all. The 2026 season is going to be something special. Make sure you're following along here for updates while I'm overseas.
Wheelchair basketball emerged shortly after World War II after it was developed by injured servicemen. It became a foundation Paralympic sport at the 1960 Games and is now one of the world's most recognisable wheelchair sports. Athletes who play wheelchair basketball have a physical impairment. All players use a wheelchair to compete, although some don't use a wheelchair in everyday life. The court dimensions and basket height for wheelchair basketball are the same as the able-bodied version of the sport, as is the playing time and number of players on court. Wheelchair basketball classifications range between 1 and 4.5 points. Players with a classification of 1.0 have the highest level of impairment, while players in the 4.5 point class have the highest level of physical function to be eligible for the sport. The wheelchairs used during a game are specially designed to support players and help them move around the court. During a match, the classifications of the 5 players on the court are added together and must reach a total of no more than 14 points. The object of the game is to score the most points in the opposing team's basket. The team with the most points by the time the clock expires wins. Wheelchair basketball is a contact sport. The sport is so fast that it can be difficult for athletes to stop in time, meaning contact is inevitable and can result in some spectacular collisions. While contact is permitted and even encouraged, head-on collisions are strictly forbidden and can result in fouls or even ejection from the game. For more information on wheelchair basketball, visit paralympic.org.au.
From the ancient dust of the Red Centre to the saltwater coasts where we meet today, Wheelchair Basketball Australia acknowledges the traditional custodians of the lands across this nation where we gather, train and play. We stand on the shoulders of giants, honouring the spirit of the first Indigenous Australian to wear the green and gold at an Olympic or Paralympic Games. Their journey is etched into the very fabric of our league. Across every court and every community, we celebrate the enduring spirit of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. Together, we share in a legacy of strength, culture, and the game we love.
Welcome to Roland Cowan Stadium in Carina on the Gold Coast in the state of Queensland, north of Australia. It's round 3 clash in the National Wheelchair Basketball League between the home Southern District Spartans, sponsored by Carina Leagues Club, and the visiting Victoria Marvels, a brand new team in the National Wheelchair Basketball League, courtesy of the organisational expertise of Basketball Victoria. My name's Brendan Parnell. I'm joined tonight by a man who's played and coached at the elite level in the sport and can provide a little more context and some of the specifics of the wheelchair game as we see the Victoria Marvels team on the screen. Good evening, Campbell. What are you expecting tonight from these two teams who started out the season a little indifferently?
Yeah, both of these teams have started out on the weaker side, and that's credit to both of them having pretty difficult matchups in terms of the teams that they've played in the last 2 rounds. And we know that both of these teams are more looking towards their young players and really creating a pathway for players. The Southern District Spartans in the previous year were actually 2 split teams that have decided to come back as one to kind of form that pathway back up again and really give options to a lot of young players. And the Victoria Marvels, obviously coming in their first year, they're open to whatever comes their way and the experience that they're able to gain through this, and look forward to future seasons where they can really build on what they've learnt from here. The game that we saw them play last night was a really interesting one. The Spartans came out really firing quite strong, and the Marvels really didn't find a way to respond. Particularly early in the game, they didn't really find their line, find their way to the basket as effectively as we'd hoped they would, and the Spartans were just able to push that momentum and really keep it going. So I think the Marvels will be looking for how they start this game and how they really push their energy from the get-go.
Yeah, we mentioned it's been a indifferent start for both teams. I should say that if we look at the Southern District Spartans, firstly, they've had a brutal draw to start the season, facing Wollongong and Manly, 2 of the uber powerful teams in the league. They had lost both those series 3-0, but did have the win last night to get themselves on the board. And for the Victoria Marvels, a brand new team in the league this year, they were unfortunate to have to travel to Manly the first weekend. Super strong and experienced opponents, full of players with international experience. And then they faced off against the Red Dust Healers, the fellow Victorian team, last week, and they were certainly competitive for huge tracts of those 3 games.
Yeah, they had two out of those 3 games were really actually quite competitive for a very long time. The third game being it was technically the Marvels being the host team. Both teams are from Victoria, but the Marvels being the host team, they had the benefit of having a bigger bench. And I think in that third game, they really looked to give a lot of time to their players that weren't necessarily travelling, and players that wouldn't get as much time against a team like Manly or Wollongong that we know they have to run their strongest and they always have to be on top of their game. But that was a really interesting test for the Marvels, especially considering that the Red Dust Healers don't have all of their players back yet. And towards the end of the season, they might even look to pick up a lot stronger.
Right, as we see the players being introduced on both sides, the full rosters, officials in the foreground there. 3 female officials tonight, Kelly Griffin leading the crew with Christine Ryanman and Laura Conway. Announcer just greets all the players onto the floor. Campbell, if we were to say which players, if I'm coming in to watch a game in the National League for the first time, which players should I be keeping my eye on in terms of possible being the standout performers from both teams?
Yeah, so in these games, obviously, if we look at the score sheet that was from last night, and from all of the games that the Southern District Spartans have played, Ethan Laird is absolutely the focus point. He's the primary ball handler. He's the primary scorer for their team. He's absolutely a fun player to watch. He's very agile, very fast. He's very difficult to guard, and it makes for some really spectacular plays. And he falls out of his chair a lot, which I should put a preface. I think I should put a preface on all of the Spartans games that if Ethan Led comes flying out of his chair, he is absolutely fine. It happens all the time. I promise it's nothing to be worried about. Other than that, you can look at a few of the Spartans. Jake Forward is a high pointer that doesn't play long minutes necessarily, but is quite useful in the minutes that he does play. And Zach Binns is the other high pointer that the Spartans look to run for quite some minutes and really does put a lot of their scores on the board. On the side of the Marvels, where we'd be looking towards Thomas Klein. He's just come back from a season over in Germany where he plays. A lot of players that are at that higher level play internationally and play a lot in Europe on the off season for Australia. And he really is kind of the helm, and the experience that he brings to the Marvels has been a really valuable thing. The Marvels were supposed to have another player who is used to that international level who actually got injured a couple weeks ago. So Thomas Klein is really taking on that head role. Other than that, we'd be looking at Reece Higgins. Reece Higgins is one of the juniors who's coming up. Has had a really good showing at the under-23s for Australia. And is really finding his place in that kind of mid to low point role, and kind of finding where he sits in that position.
Right, the players' anthems finished. They'll just go through another minute or so of final warm-ups. The two of the players you mentioned there, Campbell, of course, Ethan Laird and Thomas Klein are members of the Australian men 3x3 team. 3x3, the way the game is termed, and they'll head off to the Commonwealth Games in July as part of the Australian men's Wombats team. It's always tricky with so many forms of wildlife being used for the names of various Australian teams, but the Wombats will be the men's and women's teams to play in Glasgow. And of course, both those players are part of extended squads for the Australian Rollers, who have the World Championships coming up in Canada in September. So the National League runs until the last weekend in August, and then it's the World Championships. And as you mentioned, for many of these players who are applying their trade overseas, whether in the United States college system or in Europe, it's wheelchair basketball really is a 12 months a year exercise.
Yeah, a lot of players get really quite involved, and it's a really good thing. In the past, even really pre-COVID COVID times, players didn't get too much pay for playing in Australia, and that's why a lot of players went over to the US and to Europe as well. But that's really picked up in Australia, and it's a really exciting thing to see in the league that there's so much money, but so much effort and interest behind the sport. And it's really growing, and I suspect that will only get better in the coming years as we have more international sport and more international para sport come to Australia and be hosted here.
And of course, this 3-game series between these two teams, just one of multiple series going on across the weekend. We saw the Wollongong Rollerhawks take the second game of their series against the Red Dust Healers earlier this afternoon, and it's already apparent that between Wollongong, Manly, and I would imagine probably Red Dust, when they get their full roster back on the floor, they look to be the three teams arguably to beat at this early stage.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the expectation. I think that was the expectation in the preseason. Looking at the players that were meant to be coming back in, there have been some change-ups. Some players that chose to drop out of the season, or some injuries and things like that. And I think it really is. Manly and Wollongong are absolutely up there, and we know that they're quite strong. They have core groups that really haven't changed over a couple of years. But fighting for that third and fourth spot, I think, is really interesting in the league, and has been really interesting to see the matchups over the past couple of weeks and into the future. It'll be really, that's really where the fight is, that fight for those positions and that kind of growth.
Right, we see starters on the floor. It's the visiting Victoria Marvels in the orange uniforms and the home Southern District Spartans in their black with the white numbers. Starters for the Southern District Spartans, it's Ethan Laird, Luke McDowell, Hayden Seabar in 7, Zach Binns 11, and Nikia Fatau in 18. And for the Marvels, it's Reese Higgins, Thomas Klein in 6, Jude Ford, Jack Thomas, and Tatum Brown in number 9. Officials just checking with the score table to make sure that everything's in order. It'll be Klein and Fatau to contest the jump ball. A little bit of a silent lull in the stadium, and the officials just check with the score table that the clock is reset to 10 minutes. Of course, 4 10-minute quarters, standard IWBF rules, and a 24-second shot clock in operation. And we're underway. The Spartans with the first possession. There is Ethan Laird. He spins his way into the middle of the paint. That's a long arm of Klein in front of him. Back to Binns. He launches a 3. A little long. Marvels get their first touch of the ball. Nice deflected. Laird swoops in to grab it. Gives a pass. Nice exchange of passing. Layup for Towers off the first time, but he makes the second attempt.
And this is emblematic of what we saw in the previous game for the Marvels, was their transition in that first kind of that 8 second that they've got to get it over the half. That was the point that they struggled a lot, and where a lot of the turnovers that they had in that game came from. And obviously the Spartans have noticed that and will pick it up very early and look to put that pressure on.
So we see that exact pressure force another turnover. Ball's inside. Fatau. Binns. Left open. Thinks better of it. Back to Laird. Now back to Binns. He pushes down to the baseline. Skips back to Laird. Shot clock pressure. Launches a 3. That's off. And a rebounding foul. Let's see the ball stay with the Marvels. Yeah, the press breaker is a key part of what the Marvels are going to have to deal with, and in fact that's apparent as their head coach Jason Bryant's called a very early timeout. Obviously didn't like what he saw in the first couple of attempts to get the ball out of the backcourt.
Yeah, and I would expect that the conversation is immediately not drawing up a press breaker. They would already have one kind of set up, but just asking why it didn't work, what happened there, and that's not necessarily an accusatory question, but just to understand where was everyone at, what happened, so that we can move forward from it. And I think that's an important thing, especially with a team that's younger and a little bit less experienced, is kind of pick those things up early and look to respond to them pretty quickly, so that they can be responded to in the game, and so that everyone doesn't get too too uneven with themselves and unsure of how they proceed.
Yeah, some coaches tend to be a little shy of calling such an early timeout, but yeah, I think I'm with you. It's something you see quite often in even the NBA league, where if something that was discussed pre-game is not executed instantaneously, it's time to have a chat about it. So the Marvels with the ball. Interestingly, the Spartans have backed off the defense. There's a counter. Straight away, the Marvels, almost surprised by that lack of pressure, have thrown it away. Klein is pinned in the back court. A couple of Southern District players manages to get a hand on the ball. Ball's in now to Binns. He looks around and waits for the rest of his troops to get down the floor. There's a pass. Thomas Klein couldn't resist putting an arm out there and There'll be a foul on him, the first team foul for the Marvels.
I think that was almost as much as anything a little bit of frustration and potentially just getting that energy out and setting kind of the tone for where the game's going to be at. But I think that was just a little bit of annoyance, wanting to get a little bit of contact out.
Laird lobs a pass inside to Fatau, who takes his time and goes high off the glass to score. Pressure evident again. Nice lead pass for Klein. Tries to find an angle. Just cut off. Holds it up, flips inside. Shots off from Higgins. Wins the rebound. Probing down the floor. Early stages, just a couple of minutes gone. It's 4-0 to the home Southern District Spartans. Laird gets it off to McDowell, his shot's off. Line the rebound, pushing down the floor. Ford with the two. Get the Marvels underway. He was left wide open there. With a lovely bounce pass. Looked for all the world like Ethan Laird was coming out of his chair there, but stayed upright. Makes the layup and will have a chance for one bonus shot.
This is potentially one of the longer periods that we've seen at the start of a game for Ethan Laird to stay in his chair. He's not necessarily being quiet, but I think he's being a little restrained.
This is free throws off. Klein the rebound. Takes the option of dribbling through the pressure very effectively too. Has it poked away from behind, going back and got it. Ball caromed off to Ford. Higgins measures the left-hand shot. It's off. Laird, baseball past three-quarter court expertly. Tau can't finish. Klein weaves, gets to the middle. There's a little bit of contact. Pops forward out of his chair. It's pleasing already to see Klein taking one of the most, even though he's a relatively young man, still one of the most experienced players in the Marvels team and really taking responsibility to force his way through some of that backcourt pressure.
Yeah, that's really what we want to see from Tommy Klein. He's really growing into that space, and as he does want to move further into the Rollers program, that's something that we want to see from him. See that leadership kind of come out, and really see it come out in a really positive way. And that's something that he does well with the Marvels. That he's a leader, and he steps up into that role quite comfortably and quite positively.
So he makes it two, but the ball back with the Spartans at the moment. Tau catches the air ball, shots off again. Higgins the rebound, furiously pushing down the floor. Kicks it off to Klein. He weaves around, uses the forward screen, skips across the floor. Shot clock's going to be an issue. Tom Klein's maybe going to get left with that. Just a fraction remaining on the 24-second shot clock. The Marvels are going to have to catch and shoot here. Brown to trigger the ball. Looks for Klein. Catch straight up. It's off. Just almost at the midpoint of the first quarter of this round 3 clash, the National Wheelchair Basketball League coming to you from Roland Cowan Stadium in Carina on the Gold Coast. Fatau baseline, head fake. Goes Glass, can't get it to go. Shots up for Tau, the rebound. Laird looking ahead. Finds Binns. Snuck out in front of the last Marvels defender. Marvels try to do the same. Three-quarter court pass. Line, he's held up by Binns. Screen from forward, wheels around. Has to come back again. Manages to pop it inside. Don't know if the officials are going to count that one. In fact, they are. Right at the end of the shot clock there, he'd almost run out of options and managed to get the ball to the middle of the paint.
I think that's what you call a very friendly call. That's. I think he was felt the contact, so he put the shot up, and you could argue he was on the shooting drive, and I think that would be the argument for it.
As the free throw's good, I think you always know when all the players look around at the officials when the whistle goes, as they did there. Laird. Just be tightly covered. A three-point shot available. Manages to get his way down in the paint. Pokes at it. Can't get it. Klein, another rebound. Turned it over again, fortunately.
This is what we saw in the previous game as well. The Marvels having a few too many turnovers that really weren't forced. They were just kind of careless, a little bit careless in their passes and kind of controlling the ball and protecting the ball. And it's something that you do see a lot in younger teams, and it's one of those kind of 1% jobs that you see the teams like Manly and Wollongong really protect the ball, and it's a thing that you don't notice when they're doing it right. You only see it when they're not quite on top of it.
Klein with the ball now for the Marvels. They try by just the solitary point. Flips around. Straha comes to get him. Nice screen and roll action. Higgins, the beneficiary, finishes well. Marvels get their noses in front. Laird, left alone. Just a little hint that he might have shot the three. Hands off to Binns. He managed to get inside. Back to Laird. He hadn't quite rolled where Binns expected. Shots off. The Tau manages to reel in the rebound. Back to Binns. He gets it back from Laird. Looks at three. That's off. Thomas, the rebound. Shots off for Tau, the rebound. Higgins scrambles to get in front of him. For Tau holds it up with one hand. Back to Laird. Looks at three. It's cut off from that option. There's a little bit of space on the far side of the floor. Inside to Binns. Rolled. He finishes. Really two focal points to the offensive structure thus far for the Spartans. Binns and Laird. The Tau proving quite dominant on the rebounding front with 5 already. Just a little over 2 minutes remaining, first quarter. Marvels trailing by just the solitary point. Shots shot from Overlees, it's off. Leads to a leak out the other way. Spartans can't finish. Brown puts it to Overlees. Back to Brown, his shot's off. Klein with the rebounding foul. He's not happy about it. That would be his second. It's really the last thing the Marvels want to see.
Yeah, that's not a position that they can risk Tom Klein getting in. Not only for the amount of experience that he has, but also the rotations that his point classification allows. He plays as quite a high pointer, but he's actually a 3 due to his hands because of his disability, and that makes him quite valuable in that position.
As Laird finds Fullwood sailing inside, he finishes. Klein on transition. Gets around Laird, can't finish. Foul that time by Higgins. That'll be the 4th team foul this quarter for the Marvels. The next one, we'll see the Spartans head to the free throw line. Spartans players just looking up at the scoreboard to verify that. Binns now and Laird. Going to plan something. Hand off. Laird left open from 3. Comes inside, flips it across to Binns, who's relocated to the weak side. He fumbles it for a second. It's held up in the corner. Shot clock becoming an issue. Ball finds its way back to the middle. Seabar shots off. Marvels. Maybe catch a break there. A little bit of contact at halfway.
I think that's very much a lucky little break for the Marvels. That was a pretty light contact to get in the midcourt. I think the only argument was that it wasn't covering the ball, hadn't been received there yet. Actually, the cover was coming in just a little too fast.
Klein staying on the floor at this stage in the first, just as we tick down towards the end of the first quarter with his 2 fouls. Good amount of trust being demonstrated by head coach Jason Bryant and his star player. Goes middle. Can't get that shot to go. Laird tumbles out of his chair. Been a heart in the mouth for a second for Klein. Brown makes the rebound. And makes the shot. Laird gets himself up off the floor. Marching back to 1.
It looks like the Marvels are finally responding to that leak out that the Spartans have gotten a couple of times. Every time the Marvels put up a shot, there's at least 2 of the Spartans that are already pulled out of defense and just going. And it seems like they've actually responded to that now, and they will start looking to kind of chase down those in the midcourt, not allow those kind of fast break points that are just really a lack of communication and awareness of where players are.
Ethan Laird was letting the ball roll down the floor. Just a few seconds remaining in the quarter. He was aghast that the score total had started the clock. We've gone for a reset. It's back to Laird. Clock running down. Binns a chance at 3 to finish the quarter. That's off. That'll do us. Promising start for the visiting Marvels as they seek their first win. They trail by just the solitary point. It's the Southern District Spartans 12, Victoria Marvels 11, and we'll be back after a break.
I'm Georgia, and welcome to William Buck, a firm that is reimagining the way advisors work. Come with me and take a peek behind closed doors. Exceptional advice comes from passionate people who feel empowered to shape outcomes. Our teams include audit and assurance, business advisory, corporate finance, restructuring and insolvency, superannuation, tax, and wealth advisory. These teams work together to create a tangible impact for our clients.
Welcome back to Roland Cowan Stadium in Carina, on the Australian Gold Coast. It's Southern District Spartans holding the narrowest of leads, 12-11. Neither team's executed very brilliantly offensively, Campbell, but it's certainly been a willing contest in the rebounding and in the pressure stakes.
Yeah, the shooting hasn't really been the way that we'd expect both of these teams to really look towards it. We've called out a few of them, but the Southern District Spartans, they really like their three-point attempts, and they will threaten those quite a lot. They haven't taken too many of them. They've taken 5 now, haven't hit one yet. But they will threaten that a lot to kind of draw the defense out. And Ethan Laird last night was quite elite from that three-point line and was quite dangerous. So it's a thing that the Marvels have to respond to every time. And the Marvels are doing well enough on their offensive end, but potentially just not finding the inside shots that they're quite hoping for. And they're relying on kind of more of their outside shots and not able to find that penetration.
As we have a slight delay in play, Ethan Laird out of his chair. No surprise. Brown finds Klein. He's left wide open, relatively. That's Raha. Quite the mismatch guarding him. Makes the 2. Laird, transition. Goes coast to coast. Somehow it doesn't go. Klein the rebound. Laird pushing through the middle. Shots off, forward, the rebound. And spins for the Spartans in the black uniforms, of course. The visiting Marvels in the orange. Pulls back the lead. He's got all day to line up that 3. That's off again. Marvels playing with fire potentially, but allowing him that much space. Brown puts his way right down the paint. What would be the painted area. They're faking at the moment. Led the rebound, pushing. Low pass. Hayden Seabar did a great job to reel that in. Full stays with the Spartans. Laird. Back to Laird. Hogan scrambles around to try and poke the ball away. Binns is forced to throw the ultimate magician shot back over his shoulder from the three-point line, and it's well short, as you'd expect.
That defense from the Marvels is a lot more what they were trying to set up in the first quarter. We saw them try to really shut down those outside options, and they finally kind of found that way to do it. And force those three-point shots that I think until Ethan Laird starts hitting a few of them, they're pretty comfortable with the Spartans taking.
Ball's flipped back to Welsh. Shot clock becoming an issue. They've inside. Brown makes the 2, draws the contact. The official a minute there just to signal that the basket was going to count. It does. Again, some late shot clock magic from the Marvels there, but they all count.
I think that's something that they've kind of collected from their past games, is knowing that the way that they play their offense, they're likely to run into shot clock into low shot clock territory. And they've gotten a lot better at putting those shots up comfortably and being able to convert on them, or at least draw a little bit of contact and force themselves to the line.
Binns really gets quite forceful there, trying to get inside. Can't get anything to go. Brown, the rebound, finds Klein. He manages to avoid the charge. Settles himself on the elbow now. Just waits for the rest of his team to catch up. Wheels around, chewing up lots of the clock. Back to Brown. Expertly manoeuvres his chair, has his shot blocked as forward. Back with the Spartans, Laird. Drew some contact there, couldn't make the layup. I think he was expecting a call, didn't get one. Didn't matter, Binns was there for the offensive rebound and the putback.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate for the Marvels. Reece Higgins had taken some contact in the backcourt and was on the ground, and he wasn't able to get himself back up. So it was a mismatch on offense for the Spartans, and they really capitalized on that.
You see the full court pressure. Put on again. Marvels going back towards the baseline. Run a nice little give and go. Klein gets it into the front court. Welsh finds a cutting Klein. It was really clever the way that initial pass where they sent the ball backwards and then the inbounder skated past. Laird drives baseline, makes the layup, pops out of his chair. Has a glance round at the official. Higgins pushes ahead. Klein wheels around. Binns stays in front of him. Hands are poking at the ball. Runs a handoff with Brown. He's left open. That shot's off. Laird the rebound. Early stages, second quarter. Victoria Marvels just managing to keep a small margin. Binns has left wide. They haven't made one yet. Still haven't. Might have had too much time there, if there is such a thing for a perimeter shooter. The Spartans want to have a chat about it. Vastly experienced head coach Tom Kyle, of course, was coach of the year in the league last year. He's probably trying to suppress his frustration a fraction, I'd imagine, Campbell, with the shooting percentages his team is displaying.
Yeah, I think this is very much not what they're used to, and not what he'd be expecting of his team. Ethan Laird is sitting at 4.6 rebounds. He's not playing poorly by any means, but really just not able to find his line offensively. And the Marvels doing really well to cover him and really make sure that he doesn't get anything for free. I suspect the scouting report for his shooting is very much you jump everything, you go at everything that he tries to make. He's very much a dangerous shooter once he gets his rhythm going. But I think the Marvels have done well to really slow down his rhythm and keep him controlled.
So we see the rebounding statistics, really to speak of there. Spartans with the single extra rebound. Shooting percentages, Southern District Spartans sitting on 28% at the moment, and are now 0 of 6 from the 3-point line. Must have been a wheel on the line in that last attempt, because it certainly looked like another unsuccessful three, but 0 of 6 it is officially, 28%, and the Marvels a little better, 38%. They've managed to find some good looks when they've managed to break the pressure, which they've done quite expertly the last couple of times. So, ball's poked away from Higgins. It looked like he was chasing after it. Then he signalled to the official that he hadn't touched it. And the official agreed.
And we should note that those shooting percentages, they've actually made the same amount of baskets, 8 to 8, but the Marvels have taken 7 less shots than the Spartans have. So really, they're converting better when they get the opportunity to get down the floor, but the Spartans are holding them up so strongly, and really setting that press and making sure that the Marvels have to fight for every possession.
It's a little bit of friendly chit-chat between Thomas Klein and Ethan Laird. Know each other pretty well from the Rollers program. Officials just checking with our score table about the shot clock. Sitting on 14 at the moment. As Fatau comes back onto the floor. Ball's in for the Marbles. Brown, skip pass. Whitecoats Medal doesn't get it. That shot's way long. From Welsh. Klein came up with it somehow. Now it's with Fatau. Once Laird. It's cut off, turns it over again. Foul in the backcourt, assist to Braden Packer for the Spartans. Just his first. Brown flips a long one down to Klein. He flips it back to Brown, looks at three, that's long. Fatau the rebound. Laird. Plenty of orange singlets back in front of him, building a bit of a wall. Packer's out of his chair. Laird lets the officials know.
Laird, instead of passing the ball to the official, takes a little fun little shot and actually manages to make it from the kind of sky hook outside shot.
Some officials don't take kindly to that once the whistle's gone. Yeah, thought he was allowed to have his little bit of fun there. Laird picked up by Klein. Ball to Fatau baseline. He's cut off by Higgins. Flips it inside. Bins it cut baseline. He just overcooked that reverse. Klein goes after it. A fair contest for the ball. Lots of contact, but neither player at fault. Brown wheels around. Flips inside expertly. Shot goes for Welsh. He had to manoeuvre his body in his chair there. Almost got too far under the backboard, but did a great job.
And that was really smart control from Tatum Brown. It looked like he would actually have the line there for the layup, and opting to pull out, draw his defender out, and actually leave the line open.
Laird almost being dared to shoot there. He finds his range off glass. Turned it over in the backcourt. Another pass straight back inside to Laird. He makes two layups in the space of 10 seconds. That'll be a timeout. Automatic. Jason Bryant, the head coach of Victoria Marbles, did not like that one bit, as you can see from the expression on his face.
Yeah, and that was that. Really, that makes sense. I think that it's those little passes and simple things like that the Marbles kind of slip up on at times, and the Spartans are very crafty at kind of responding to, especially Ethan Laird. He's a very smart, very crafty player, and he notices those weaknesses as soon as you show them. And the Marbles really need to take care of the ball as they move it up. Once they get it into the forward half again, they're shooting at this stage. They've got a better shooting percentage than the Spartans do, but they're just struggling to get it into that position. They're struggling to push forward and actually find a shooting opportunity.
Yeah, it was just their fifth turnover, but coming as it did off after a mid-range shot to turn over the inbound pass is always something that coaches roll their eyes about, and Jason Bryant certainly did. He wanted to have a chat about things straight away. Doesn't want to give the Spartans an opportunity to get on any little run. Probably the score as we sit halfway through the second quarter is probably about where the Marvels would like it. As you mentioned, Campbell, they're happy to use shot clock. Been in no particular hurry to get the ball out of the backcourt, more concerned with safety and limiting turnovers. They had 22 of those in last night's game and sitting on just 5 now. A much better display. Higgins drives down. The shot is almost conceded. Just can't get it to go. Unfortunately for the Spartans, Hayden Seabar unable to get hold of that rebound.
I suspect there was a little bit of confusion about who tapped that out. I think both players both players kind of pulled back and weren't quite sure if they were the last one to touch it, as neither of them wanted to fight to tap it back in or keep it in play.
It's a beautiful little screen and roll play. Klein and Brown there. Klein finishes off the baseline inbound. The Spartans completely unaware, but it was executed to perfection. So Fatau temporarily out of his chair. There's a chat with the official. Maybe thought there might have been some assistance to dip him over. Officials now going to play floor wiper. They're looking for the mark on the floor. No, they've decided there is no sweat on the floor.
We'll know when someone goes over that patch. I think everyone will be avoiding it like the plague.
Anyway, the ball will stay with the Spartans. They trail by 1. Just under 5 minutes remaining, second quarter. National Wheelchair Basketball League brought to you by Bright Sky Australia, coming from the Roland Cowan Stadium in Carina, in beautiful Gold Coast. Marvels probably had the 3-on-1 opportunity there, found a way to turn it over and turned it over to the wrong man, Ethan Laird. Now he's cut off, flips it across the floor. Binns with the expert drive, shakes Brown, back to Laird. That shot from Binns does everything but fall. Brown up above his head, yelling out to teammates that the pass is coming. Finds its way to Klein. He drives baseline. Almost has the post up with a height advantage. Brown sails down the middle, draws some contact. Brown will get the 2 free throws. It's a great effort from the young man who was at the heart of the press break and just streamed down the floor.
Yeah, Tatum Brown's an interesting addition to the Marvels. He's actually he's from New South Wales, plays in the Waratah League in New South Wales. He was a late addition and bring into the Marvels, but he's really been really valuable, especially on that offensive end. He's very fast, very crafty, and has a pretty good shooting line.
Tom Klein manages to get the offensive rebound from the second free throw miss, and at the second attempt gets it to go. Margins out to a game-high 4 for the Marvels. I think it might be a season-high 4, Campbell, at this stage. Binns measures the 2, can't get it to go. Spartans trying to pressure. Klein manages to sail out of the backcourt. Skips it across to Brown. Does a 360 on the spot. Looks at 3. Head fake. Drives. Almost gets around Binns. Does. Flips the ball across. Welsh measures his shot. Sits up off the rim. Just won't go. Here comes Laird. Defense late to get there. He did a bit of the matador. And it managed to put him off. He sailed out of his chair and missed the layup. Brown going the other way. Plenty of support, 3-on-2 break possibility. Welsh with a lovely extra pass. Unfortunately, the shot's long. Baker unable to finish that one. There, back the other way, long pass for Tau. Manoeuvres himself, can't get it to go. Rebound in dispute. Tau gets hold of it again. Second shot won't go, but he draws some contact. End-to-end play there.
That was lucky contact, I think, not to be on Reece Higgins there. I think he was expecting that foul to be on him. And that would put him up to 3, which is a position he really can't afford to be in. I think that won't go to him, luckily, and that is kind of the experience that the Marvels have had a few times where once someone is planted in the key against them, they can't really contest that rebound quite enough. They don't have a lot of that height to pull those boards in, and they can contest the shot a little bit, but they're relying on that shot to really go wayward.
Tau does the Marbles a favour, missing that first free throw. So pause on the second one, gets it to go. Closing stages, second quarter. Round 3, the Marbles trying to open their account. National Wheelchair Basketball League 2026 with the Boo season. Brown gives his familiar head fake, gets down inside the keyway, can't get it to go. Led another rebound. His 7th. He sails down. Klein manages to get back. Led throws a pass. Almost couldn't work out which one of the Spartans was going to pick that up. Forward does and finishes. Back to 1.
Yeah, that was a surprisingly messy offense for the Spartans, that they actually had the advantage 5-1. They had 5 of their players all down, and almost turning it over with a little bit of a messy pass there.
In fact, the Marbles have turned it over. And the Spartans can almost hold for the last shot of the quarter. Clock on the screen. It's a little slow. Spartans trying to figure out who will inbound the ball. They raffled it up. Ball with Laird. He's left. They dare him to shoot the 3. He makes it. Boom! First one of the game. And at a critical time. Now the backcourt pressure's on. Ball skips ahead. Klein wants to take the last shot of the quarter. He lines up a 3. Can't get it to go. That'll do us. Quarter 2. The Marbles had their noses in front by as many as 4 points, but they find themselves trailing by 2. It's the Southern District Spartans 26, the Victoria Marbles 24 at halftime, and we will be back in just a moment.
I'm Nicholas Marachi. I'm a Senior Manager in the Tax Services team here at William Buck in Victoria. William Buck has a really good environment of innovating and really changing things up where we need to adapt. And as tax law changes, our way of administering it and our way of preparing advice also changes, and we're adapting to that. The firm has a really good culture of acknowledging good behaviours and good efforts and outstanding outcomes from staff members. The Victorian office offers an Excellence Award to an outstanding staff member. That was a really humbling experience for me. Usually I'm not short for words, but I was short for words at that point in time.
What's up everyone, Jalen Brown here. I'm currently over in Turkey for the 25-26 Turkish League. I'm excited to get back and kick off this new era of wheelchair basketball with you all. The 2026 season is going to be something special. Make sure you're following along here for updates while I'm overseas.
Hey everyone, Tom O'Neill Thorne here. We have a massive season ahead. Follow here for your behind the scenes, game updates and everything in between. Welcome to a new era of wheelchair basketball in Australia. See you on court.
Wheelchair basketball emerged shortly after World War II after it was developed by injured servicemen. It became a foundation Paralympic sport at the 1960 Games and is now one of the world's most recognisable wheelchair sports. Athletes who play wheelchair basketball have a physical impairment. All players use a wheelchair to compete, although some don't use a wheelchair in everyday life. The court dimensions and basket height for wheelchair basketball are the same as the able-bodied version of the sport, as is the playing time and number of players on court. Wheelchair basketball classifications range between 1 and 4.5 points. Players with a classification of 1.0 have the highest level of impairment, while players in the 4.5 point class have the highest level of physical function to be eligible for the sport. The wheelchairs used during a game are specially designed to support players and help them move around the court. During a match, the classifications of the 5 players on the court are added together and must reach a total of no more than 14 points. The object of the game is to score the most points in the opposing team's basket. The team with the most points by the time the clock expires wins. Wheelchair basketball is a contact sport. The sport is so fast that it can be difficult for athletes to stop in time, meaning contact is inevitable and can result in some spectacular collisions. While contact is permitted and even encouraged, head-on collisions are strictly forbidden and can result in fouls or even ejection from the game. For more information on wheelchair basketball, visit paralympic.org.au.
First real tournament on home soil in 20 years. To get those guys to get that experience, that's what every game at a World Cup's like. That's what every game at a Paralympics is like. We're trying to build it that they bring the intensity every time, because if they don't, they're not going to get selected. It's like your decision. You turn up and you put in it and train and play at rollers standards at what we say is gold medal standard. We want to finish in the top 4 at the Worlds. I think that's the next step. We've had wins against the top teams now. We just now consistently need to go to a tournament and do that. I think the future's really bright here in Australia. What WBA have done and the collaboration now with BA, etc. I think everyone understands that there is a really great opportunity to not only nail Brisbane 32, but then nail it for many years after that.
Welcome back to the Gold Coast, Roland Cowan Stadium, Carina. And we've got some highlights coming straight up of the first half of an enthralling contest with the home Southern District Spartans leading by just the 2 points at half time.
Yeah, it's been a really good contest between these two teams. The Marvels have looked a lot stronger than what we've seen them throughout the season so far, and that's credit to they've had some really difficult matchups, and this is a really nice matchup for them to have. The Spartans have a lot of experience, but they really are towards the kind of level that the Marvels want to be competing at and fighting for that spot. And the Spartans just having a little bit of trouble on their offensive end. They actually ended quite strongly in that second quarter. obviously ending with a 3 to put themselves in front, which is the position that they really needed to get into. But the Marvels doing well on their offensive end, having less opportunities at their offensive end, but making them convert more.
As we get a look at the raw numbers, and as you'd expect in such a close contest, nothing really between the two teams. The Spartans with just one less made 2-point field goal, but that 3 that you mentioned, Campbell, right at the end, there was just a momentary, maybe 30 seconds of a little bit of loss of equilibrium from the Marvels. Turned over an inbound pass, lost lead completely, fouled him making a layup. Just those sort of mental errors that you spoke about before the contest that they've done such a good job for the majority of that first half to manage. Turnovers just sitting at 7, we mentioned last night. That was certainly their Achilles heel, turning the ball over 22 times. But all to play for, and I'm sure head coach Jason Bryant will be hoping that his team can just maintain their attention to detail with the controllable things. The Victoria Marvels in the orange uniform, but the Southern District Spartans, the home team, will have the ball as we get underway in the second half. Round 3 action, National Wheelchair Basketball League. Straight away inside, it's Jake Fullwood finishing with his favoured left hand. And the pressure's on in the backcourt. Brown, pass fake, he's going to have to throw something long to get it across the timeline. Laird appealing that the 8 seconds may have expired. Officials, a bit of a conference, they've decided that that is the case. Ethan, always quick to help the officials with any areas relating to advantage for the Spartans. Seabar, back to Laird. He probes. Klein in front of him, settles for the mid-range shot. That's off. Offensive rebound, won't go. Packer. Klein has to kick ahead. It's picked up by Brown. There's a little bit of contact. Wheels around. Maintains control. Goes glass, can't get it to go. Packer the rebound. Laird weaving between chairs. There's some contact himself. Retreats. Flips a pass inside. Forward caught under the hoop there. Cow. Back to Laird. Can't get that to go. Forward inside offensive rebound. Can't get it to go. Long arms. Gets the offensive rebound again. Second one won't go. Ball's in dispute. Somehow bobbles its way back around. Seabar. Tau inside. Half a dozen attempts there. The Spartans. Brown comes away with the ball. Brown's come out of his chair, but the contact was going to be legal. So the Marvels will turn it over again.
Yeah, I think he just got himself a bit off balance there and kind of leant forward a little bit. The defense was very well set in front of him, and I think he just wasn't quite expecting the lead that he had with his body weight forward.
So Laird sees a 3, roll in and out. And Marvels turn it over again in the backcourt. Just that pass a little high from Higgins. Jason Bryant must be thinking about a timeout. Just things haven't started the way he would have hoped for his team. Seabar picked up by Klein. Throws a nice little underground pass there. Ball finds its way inside. Shot somehow falls off again from forward. Marvels doing their best to break the pressure. Klein whirls around. We need him to stand up at the moment. He does exactly that, but unfortunately, 3-second call before the shot was made. All the players looking around for some sort of explanation.
I That's really unfortunate foul to get called out, or 3 seconds to get called. I actually thought that was a little bit of contact as he was making the shot, but I think it came after the 3 second had gone off. That's just a little lapse in judgment, I think.
Leg gets his way inside. It's the long arm, the forward, but we get a reciprocal call. Forward makes the layup, but 3 seconds called on the Southern District Spartans on this occasion.
Yeah, I think that was Seba under the basket, had actually set up that seal and really given him the opportunity to drive in, but he was just there for a little too long.
Line tries baseline, draws a little contact, gets that one to go. That'll count. Red swings around, gets it back, thinks about the three, puts it on the floor, draws some contact, tries to flip a shot up and convince the official that he was shooting, but nothing doing. Foul will be on Brown, his second. He hasn't been off the floor yet tonight, so certainly won't want to be getting another one in this quarter. Head gets it back from Binns, drives, Brown comes to cut him off, Binns drives, middle, waits for the defence to settle down, makes the two. Hayden Seabar commits a foul before the ball is inbounded. No real trouble for him at this stage, just his first. Marvel's a real speculative pass there. Caught another break, I think. Brown fouled. Ball with the Marvels. Brown probes down the middle. Couldn't quite decide who to throw it to, and unfortunately threw it away. But he scrambled back and forced the turnover the other way. So Ford has the ball, but Laird popped out of his chair somehow. There'll be a break in play.
The Marvels getting pretty lucky with the way that the calls are actually slowing down the pace of the play and really kind of benefiting their style of play. They don't like that fast pace that the Spartans are kind of forcing them into. It's been a nice kind of stutter for them to get back into their position.
Klein gets his way to the elbow, measures his shot. Marvels come up with the rebound. Hotly contested inside, can't get hold of it. The long arms of Fullwood. An impact at both ends in the rebounding contest. Binns pushes down the floor. Gets his way to the baseline, pops it inside. Shot won't go for Packer. He overbalanced trying to get that rebound. A bit of confusion there, but the ball will go back to the Marvels.
I think the Marvels were almost thinking that was going to be a foul called on them. As Braden Packer was leaning back, and he's quite a tall player, but he doesn't have a lot of core control to really help him once he's leaned back that far. And it'll be called a jump ball just because it was he's essentially on the floor, and it can't be decided which way it was going to go. But there was no contact that pushed him to the floor.
Klein drives baseline, kicks it back to Higgins, but the ref's called a halt in play. Just a couple of chairs, I think, locked up there.
Yeah, I think that was actually a strap that might have broken or potentially come a bit loose for Jude Ford. He was looking a little bit trying to figure out one of the straps over his knees, and I think it wasn't really working for him.
6 seconds on the shot clock. The Marvels, I think, are aware of it. Ball flips across. Overloose couldn't get that. They've turned it over. It's the last thing they wanted to do. Laird flips it down. Benz makes the layup. Compounding errors there. You can find if that pass had gone out of bounds. Line now. Margin out to 6. Just a couple of alarm bells ringing for the men from Victoria. Higgins hands off to Klein. He's held up at halfway. Finds Brown. A little bit of space appears in front of him. Shot clock starting to run down. Balls flip back. Shots off. Almost can't get that to go. Here come the Spartans. Bins. Cut off. Laird, head fake and drive. Spins around. Measures the baseline shot. Can't get it to go. Overloose comes up with the rebound. Klein held in the backcourt. They're going to need to get this across halfway. Klein pushes a pass. Somehow Brown gets hold of it. Overloose rolling the lane. Just can't control that layup. It's a hand on Bin. Somehow the ball comes free. Ball finds its way back to Bins. Drives baseline. Cut off. Skip pass. Laird trying to reposition himself on the weak side. Ball's deflected. Klein had a hand in there. Fullwood composes himself. Shot inside's off from Packer. Marvels survive again. Draw a little bit of contact. Zach Bin's claiming that contact was accentuated.
The Marvels have gotten pretty lucky in the way that the Spartans have looked like they're really kind of controlling the way that this is being played, and then just over-committing on a couple fouls and kind of breaking up that play in ways that they don't really need to. They're kind of fouls that wouldn't be aren't really shutting anything down yet. They're not shutting down a fast break. They're not kind of controlling the Marvels the way that they need to.
Klein's held up. Just the 2 points in the 6 and a bit minutes so far for the Marvels. Ball back to Brown. He gets that to go. Relieving basket. Marching back to 4. Thankfully for the Marvels, it's been tough sledding the Spartans from the scoring department. Just the 6 points for them this quarter as Laird drives middle. Goes glass with what he'd normally make. Sails out of his chair into the advertising hoardings. Higgins tries to push. Finds Brown, flips it back inside. Klein arrives right on time. Makes the 2. Laird back with the ball. The seesaw continues. Laird, head fake, drive. Cut off, gets around Higgins expertly, draws some contact. He will head to the free throw line.
I think Reece Higgins was thinking that wasn't really too much contact. I suspect it was that arm that he reached out and potentially Ethan Laird drove kind of through the chair movement. Reece Higgins actually opted to just stop and let Ethan do what he wanted to do, let him run, and just drawing in a little bit of contact as he tried to contest the ball a little bit and kind of put him off his game.
Laird misses the first. And the second. Tricky shooting night for him. Klein pushes the ball ahead. Nice exchange of passing. Layup just won't go. All the right spots there. Baker just couldn't control himself to get that to go. Ball back to the Spartans. Headed by 2, just a couple of Couple of minutes remaining, second quarter. Binns looks at 3. They've had very limited success from that range tonight, just the one make. Klein scrambles out of the backcourt. Does the Higgins screen, flips a pass across. Brown does it up above his head. Klein continues his cut to the middle. Shot might have been blocked. Binns the rebound. Skates away, Klein's back, poking at the ball. Not getting on this occasion, Binns continues. Throws a behind the back pass. The Laird, he misses another 3. Bounce pass finds its way down the floor. Brown. Once Klein inside. He holds up expertly for a second. Makes the layup. Let the 2 defenders sail by. Now the Southern District Spartans want to have a chat about things. Dying stages, third quarter. The Marbles, they looked like they were slipping out of the contest, but they've found a way to get themselves back on level terms.
Yeah, I really like when they rotate back to this this squad that they've got, the 5 that they've got running at the moment, with Seb Welsh, Tom Klein, and Tatum Brown playing those really high point roles, and really putting a threat in every position. They play that triangle that actually we've seen Wollongong specifically run quite comfortably. They run like this triangle play where they've got a shooter on each side, so that there is a threat that you can't overcommit on either side. And the Marvels just taking a little bit of a page out of that book, and I really like that rotation that they've got, and it also allows them the opportunity to look at recovering on those fast breaks that the Spartans have been really elite from. They've gotten those fast breaks a few too many times for the Marvels to be comfortable with, and I think they've really kind of figured that out quite quickly, and they're looking to pull it back now.
The shooting percentages for both teams, nothing to write home about at the moment. Spartans on 26%, the Marbles 34%.
Again, that 26% is a credit to the fact that they're 1 of 9 from the 3. And they continue to take them, and we know that the Ethan Laird specifically is a danger from that position when he's finding them. But it seems like tonight just really isn't his night from the 3-point line.
And that's he with the ball now, Laird. Marbles compress their defence a bit. He just wanders in, makes a bank shot. Marbles, some backcourt pressure for them again. Brown wheels around, leans his chair forward. A little bit of contact there, but no call. Line held up. Again, the Marbles happy to run shot clock, try and control the tempo of the game. Brown looks at 3. That's off. Laird pushing. Waning moments, third quarter. Spartans just having a look at the clock. They can run this down. Laird held up, gets it across. Shots off, Klein pokes at the rebound. And time will expire. That'll do us, third quarter. It's a huge fourth quarter coming up. The Southern District Spartans 34 leading the Victoria Marbles 32. And we'll be back for that fourth quarter in just a moment.
From grassroots to the pros, I'd love to see that.
Where style meets performance, I'd love to see that. supporting champions and inspiring the next generation, I'd love to see that.
Welcome back. The players just getting some final instructions here at Roland Cowan Stadium before a big fourth quarter. The Victoria Marvels, the brand new team in the National Wheelchair Basketball League, looking for their first win as a franchise. And for the home Southern District Spartans, they're only in their third year in the league, although we did mention that the Southern District franchise had 2 teams in the league last year. And the majority of the players in this team were part of one of those 2 teams that made the semi-finals. They managed to get their season underway last night with the first win in this 3-game series they're playing against the Marvels. The Marvels have managed to turn this contest into a slowly paced affair, which suits their style of play and where they're up to from an experience point of view. But we're underway. The Southern District Spartans with the ball in the black uniforms. We see an early bit of contact. Hamish Baker assessed with the personal foul. From a leading scorer's point of view, it's Thomas Klein leaves all scorers for the Marvels with 18. Ethan Laird with 13 and Zach Binns with 10. The Spartans. Laird with the ball now. Rolls down, flips a pass inside. Shots off again. We've seen a lot of that tonight. Spartans. Seabar with a makeable one. Not backing off the pressure. Ball's in, flipped ahead. Klein, been an outlet. A lot of that backcourt pressure. Spins around. Ball back to Brown. He's almost dared to shoot that long 2. Klein. Shot clock running down. He's going to have to take that. And makes it. A long 2.
I think that was difficult for the Marvels. They were in a position that they weren't really finding anything. The ball wasn't moving too much. And potentially just getting a little bit stale on their offense. But Tom Klein, the veteran of this team, able to just line up a shot, get something to go forward, and pick up a bit of momentum.
The Marvels, as the Southern District Spartans make one on the 3rd attempt there. Zach Binns picking the ball up nice and high off the offensive rebound, making the putback. There's another one of those turnovers off the inbound pass, just a miscommunication. Pass around a little hard. Ball straight back to the Spartans. These have been the tiny pressure points. The Marvels. Ball to lead. He rolls into a 3. It's off. Spartans the offensive rebound. Binns directing traffic. Looks to bob the ball inside. Does so. Long arms of Fullwood. Converts.
Jake Fullwood really hasn't found his line too much for the Spartans in this game. Under the basket, he's really that big that they're looking to utilise under the basket. I think he's found it in the second half and really, obviously, in this last quarter.
As Brown thought he'd drawn some contact from Laird, but nothing doing. He's turned it over, the official ruling that Laird had exemplary defensive position. So starting like the 3rd quarter started. Scratchy performance from the Marvels before they managed to get things back on track. Binns, baseline. This is his bank shot. Roll off. Brown wheels around, puts it way into the key. Flips a no-look pass, exchange of passing. Klein draws some contact. Seb Welsh found him with a nice pass. to that contact.
Tom Klein actually received that pass pretty late in I think the drive that he was hoping for. You could hear him calling out for it. And that siren that I'm not sure if that comes from the AblePod game, but I know it's very common in the wheelchair game. That kind of siren call for the pass to come in as quickly as possible. I think it came a little bit later than he was hoping for it.
Nonetheless, he'll make his way, or he has made his way to the free throw line. Chance to eat into this margin. This one's good. Second one has a look in and bobs out. Bends the rebound. Laird pushing. Wheels around. Got some contact again. Higgins looks down. Am I number one? Yes, you are. It's on you again. That'll be 4 on him. He looks ruefully at the bench, the score table, the officials. The experience of Laird forcing the issue there, but he can't get the free throw to go. It's been a peculiar night for him shooting wise. Second one goes. Margin at 4. 8 minutes remaining in this contest. Touch under. We'll see an offensive foul. Marbles again with the turnover.
The Marbles, I think, just getting a little ahead of themselves and not really taking care of the ball, kind of focusing on getting the ball up the floor. Once they get it up the floor, they're converting very well. But it's that transition that the Spartans are really capitalizing on and really putting so much pressure on.
Laird drives baseline, flips a pass across. Packer with a nice catch. Is bumped. Yeah, I almost thought that might be happening, although the timeout has been called by the Spartans, surprisingly. They're up by 4 with Packer on the free throw line, and yeah, just the inexperience possibly of the Marbles, just a little shaky starting this fourth quarter.
I'm curious who actually got that time, but I think both were calling for it, and I think the Spartans might have called for it first, but Jason Bryant was looking over at the bench calling for it. I think that will be Reese Higgins' last foul, and I think that will put him out of the game, and that's a really difficult position that it puts the Marvels into. Not only because of the experience that he has, but the rotations that he opens up and the position that he plays is really kind of capital to the way the Marvels operate.
Yeah, you're correct, Campbell. The bench has just confirmed. That's the 5th foul on Reese Higgins. He'll take no further part in the contest. It's also the 4th team foul this quarter after just 2.5 minutes, or not even 2.5 minutes of the period, which means that every subsequent foul, the Spartans will head to the free throw line. And the timeout was charged to the Marbles. That's one less of those breaks in play they have to manoeuvre things. Free throw from Packer. Sits on the rim for an eternity before falling off. Snaps the second one. Takes a hard bounce. In fact, so hard that he manages to get after the rebound and get it. Exchange of passing inside. Bins. Shots off. Klein couldn't quite get hold of the rebound. The Marbles do. Brown draws some contact. Zach Bins with the who me. Yes. That's on you, Zach. It's his 3rd foul, but just the first this quarter for the Spartans. Ball's in. Klein happy to take some air out of Same. Now he drives. Gets Binns where he wants him. He makes the shot. Almost came to a standstill there.
Yeah, that was a bit of the I think the inexperience for Zach Binns there. He had the drive, he had the defensive line, and once he thought he'd forced the Marvels to pull out, he actually just left the defense wide open and gave Tom Klein a pretty comfortable shot.
It's forward, makes the two, just way too tall inside there. It's been an issue for the Marvels in this entire quarter. Now Binns sails in off the turnover, makes a layup. Pressure on again, back court. Margins leaked out to 6. She was holding things up for a second. Fatau comes onto the floor. The Spartans. Comes the double team. Ball back to Brown. Scrambles after it. Looks through. It's cut off now. It's for Klein inside. He rolls backwards. Almost gets the 2 to go. Can't quite do so. And unfortunately, that rebounding foul is on the Marvels. And Ethan Laird will roll all the way down to the other end of the floor and take 2 free throws.
I think the Marvels have got themselves into a position where it's not that they can't recover, but it's so hard to recover from when you don't have a lot of experience playing at that elite level and really playing from behind. So it's a hard thing to do from this position. You get so kind of caught up in how you're feeling. And I think a couple of these fouls in the last quarter have just been kind of petty fouls in the sense that they're a little bit overwhelmed, a little bit stressed, and annoyed at how close this game has come and that it's slowly falling away.
Margin out to 8. Laird makes both the free throws. The pressure continues in the back court. Long pass finds its way to Klein. He's double teamed, corner of the court. Flips it ahead. Baker wheels around, gets a pass inside. Thomas can't finish. Here come the Spartans. Laird, a lovely bounce pass through traffic, gets it back. Can't finish. Long arms of Fullwood there. Klein manages to get the rebound. He's fouled this time. And that, in fact, will be the 4th team foul on the Spartans this quarter. So both teams fouling freely.
We might be leading into one of the infamous 5 minutes that last 20. It's probably a position that the Marvels are actually pretty happy to run into now that they were worried about probably even 2 minutes ago. And the Spartans could have just ran it and played pretty comfortably, knowing that the Marvels couldn't really make any contact, and now the Spartans in the same position.
Ball's in, both teams in the bonus now. Looks like we don't have a much longer 4th quarter than normal. Ball's picked off by Laird, cross-court pass, a lot of indecision there. They're just setting himself up for the layup and somehow misses it. Puts his head in his hands. I don't think he can believe that. He's just cruising in. The ball flips ahead. Klein is really going to have to be the go-to scorer here as he goes high off the glass. Makes 2. Back to 6. Halfway through the last quarter. Yeah, I still don't think he can believe he missed that last wide open transition layup. Flips a pass across the floor, shots long. Forward the rebound. Finds Klein, brings it under control, wheels around past a couple of potential defenders. Gets to the middle. Binns comes to defend him. Gathers himself back to the elbow. Shot clock becoming an issue. Rolling down to single figures, low single figures. Klein calmly nails another 2. Laird throws the baseball pass. Somehow it's reeled in by Fatau. Laird gets it back. Drives middle. Cut off. Finds Seabar. His shot's a mile off from the free throw line. Klein pushing. Wheels around. Laird's back to stop him. Yelling to the officials for something. Probably wasn't the pass from Baker there. He thought Klein was coming back around for the handoff. He wasn't. Laird rolling again. Slows things down. Ignores the three-point opportunity. Finds Fatau inside. Lovely pass. And I think Coach Jason Bryant will have a chat about things now. A couple of beautiful mid-range shots from Klein. Had them back to 4. And the turnover again, which has really been their Achilles heel. They stood trail by a very manageable 6.
Yeah, I think the Marvels are struggling to find their option other than through Tom Klein. He's quite obviously a very strong scorer for them. And in this game, he's really been the head. He's at 27 points, and the next highest, Tatum Brown, at 8 points. And I think that's been the name of the game for them, is find Tom Klein under the basket. And the Spartans are finally responding to that a little bit with pretty strong pressure and actually forcing him into uncomfortable positions that they're almost leaving something open for the Marvels to respond to, but they know that it can't be through Tom Klein. They're not allowing him any option, and if the Marvels manage to find a way forward through someone else, I imagine that's what they have to concede. But the Spartans doing really well to control Tom Klein by now.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Marvels, their inexperience and losing Higgins to foul trouble, of course, didn't help. Their turnover counts ballooned up to 19 again. Just getting pretty close to last night's number. It's just a function of trying to keep things together for a 40-minute game in a national league is a very difficult exercise, and for a first-year franchise, it's doubly difficult as they try and build a roster and develop some young players. Ball back inside to Klein. Lovely exchange of passing. Shots deflected. Thomas was in the right spot there. Hand on the ball from behind. Laird looking a little more confident now. Wheels middle. Under the baseline. Finds a cutting bins. Can't get it to go. Klein another rebound. Up to 14 in that category for him. All his 27 points. And Colossus tonight. Drives middle. Flips a lovely pass. No look. Fantastic stuff there. Welsh the finish there. Laird again, controlling proceedings. Flips another no-look pass. Binns was waiting and expecting it. He makes the layup.
That was the miscommunication from the Marvels defense. There were actually 2 players from the Spartans pushing towards that baseline, and they had pretty much an open line to get through. I think the Marvels just didn't respond to each other quite well, and were potentially just a little too focused on. I think they're getting a little too focused on the score line and potentially where the ball is, not where the ball is getting to.
Klein wheels around, uses the Thomas screen, gets to the baseline. Couple of defenders on him. Measures the shot, can't get it to go. Fatau the rebound. Ball inside the long arms of Fullwood back on the floor. He's been particularly effective. 10.7 rebounds now. I'm starting to become an issue. Just a minute and 18 seconds remaining. An offensive foul this time for the Marvels. They're looking a little out on their feet, metaphorically. Back to Fatau. He takes a speculative 3. That's off. Klein another rebound. Pushes down the floor. Held up. Wheels back around again. Shot fake, lets the defender sail by. Makes the 2. Laird racing the other way, flips it behind his back. He knows time's on their side at the moment. This team just needs to control possession. Forward misses inside. The Marvels, they need to really push things at next speed. Held up, finds its way to Klein. He draws a double, ball's poked away, but a foul. And that will certainly help the Marvels as Klein can reposition himself on the free throw line.
Yeah, and that's an unfortunate foul for the Spartans to collect there. They're putting a lot of pressure on the ball, and I think potentially the pressure needs to come just from chair position and really control the movement of the play and not look to pressure necessarily intercepting the ball and move the play towards their offensive end. I think they just need to slow it down.
And I think that foul has been assessed as a technical foul, in fact, was assessed. Tom Klein taking the technical foul. He'll now have the 2 free throw shots for the personal foul because the Spartans were over the limit. And this is again, the Marvels can ill afford that at this stage. All 3. Back of the rebound, Laird pushes. Surely be happy as we tick down under 40 seconds remaining. Flips it inside. Shots off. Finds its way back to C-Bar. Back in the safe hands of Laird. He looks at 3, can't resist. It's long. Forward the rebound. Spartans still pressuring. Ball held up. Klein. And they have to throw a half-court pass. Manages to get it there. More contact. Ethan Laird assessed with the foul on this occasion.
Ethan Laird's actually done well with the amount of contact that he's making, and really, he is the one making a lot of this pressure that the Spartans are doing, and he's done well to control his fouls. I think that's something that he's developed over the seasons that he's played, that real chair control and getting in front. And he's on his 3rd foul now, but doesn't matter at this point. And he's done well to really control the game from a legal position.
Yeah, for just 3 fouls proportional to activity levels, quite amazing. Yes, unfortunately, Welsh misses both the free throws and then errors compounded. That's 5 free throws in a row. The Marvels have missed the opportunity to make. Of all people, they've fouled Ethan Laird, who will roll down to the other end of the floor with just a little over 11 seconds remaining. Clock's just slightly out of sync. But it looks like the Spartans are going to get away with this one, and they were certainly tested all the way by the Marvels. It's just those the lessons of experience that can only be learned out on the floor that the Marvels will take away from this one tonight. As offensive rebounders, forward, the long arms with the putback. Ball's in. Marvels will barely have time to get this across. Time will expire. Tom Klein realises he's happy to hang on to the ball. There we have it, the Southern District Spartans pulling that one out late on, 53-45, but a really solid effort from the Marvels, an indicator that they're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I think the Marvels have a lot to be proud of out of that game. The way they conducted themselves really until that last quarter is the only time that it got away from them. that was the largest separation by single quarter scoring, and that was 4 points that the Spartans got above them. Every other quarter was within 1 point scoring wise. So I think the Marvels should be really happy with the way that they played that. The Spartans did really well to recover in positions that they actually got pretty uncomfortable with the way that they were playing. I think they got a little bit heated with some of the calls that they weren't necessarily weren't too happy with, and their performance dropped a little bit towards the middle of the game. And I think they recovered really strong out of that and looked at who the threats on the Marvels were and really responded to them.
Let's get a quick look at the raw numbers. Both teams with 23 made 2-point field goals, just the 1 3-point success. That coming for the Spartans. Rebounding, the Spartans did manage to pull away a little bit there towards the end of the game, but for the Marvels, if there was one area that they would be hoping to clean up in tomorrow's third game, it'll be the turnover count. 22 last night, 20 tonight, and most born of inexperience and just an inability to handle some of that backcourt pressure.
Yeah, I think that's what the Spartans did so well, was force the ball into hands that weren't as experienced, weren't as prepared, and potentially were able to fluster a little bit more. Someone like Tom Klein, you're not really going to get under his skin. You're not really going to force too many bad passes out of him. But if you can keep him off the ball, then the Spartans did really well to do that. They forced a lot of those turnovers that the Marvels really need to find a way to bring those back in and just slowly move the ball up. I think they got a little bit ahead of themselves in the pace that they set occasionally, and it just didn't work out for them.
So we see some of the highlights quickly of the second half. Tom Klein is absolutely monumental. 29 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists. But even on what wouldn't be his greatest shooting night, Ethan Lee had finished up with 16 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. Ably assisted by Jake Forward, who chipped in with 14 points and 9 rebounds. So often, as we see here, Klein was left to execute at the end of the shot clock, and he did so with great efficiency through most of the evening, as we see Forward there, the long arms, making his presence felt. Klein encouraging a couple of defenders to sail by there. But for the Spartans, it's their second win of the season, and they'll be looking for number 3 in the third game of this series tomorrow. But that'll do us tonight from the Roland Cowan Stadium in Carina. My name's Brendan Parnell. On behalf of my co-commentator Campbell Fraser, we wish you a very good evening.
What's up everyone, Jalen Brown here. I'm currently over in Turkey for the 25-26 Turkish League. I'm excited to get back and kick off this new era of wheelchair basketball with you all. The 2026 season is going to be something special. Make sure you're following along here for updates while I'm overseas.
I'm Georgia, and welcome to William Buck, a firm that is reimagining the way advisors work. Come with me and take a peek behind closed doors. Exceptional advice comes from passionate people who feel empowered to shape outcomes. Our teams include audit and assurance, business advisory, corporate finance, restructuring and insolvency, superannuation, tax, and wealth advisory. These teams work together to create a tangible impact for our clients.
From the suburbs of Melbourne to the world stage, I'd love to see that.
Where style meets performance, I'd love to see that.
Supporting champions and inspiring the next generation, I'd love to see that.